Hello again, art friends. In this short video, I'm going to be showing how I create a larger abstract using the acrylic ink colors in these beautiful color studies that I did, including a metallic gold ink. So to get started, I pulled out my Antelope Brown ink and just created a little stream of it on the paper. And then using my Catalyst Wedge, I just spread out some of the ink. Now the nice thing about Antelope Brown, besides being a beautiful color, is that it's fairly transparent. And I wanted to create the beautiful layers that I got in my samples, which is why all of the inks that I'm using have some transparency to them. So I'm just spreading this out and then I'm going to let it dry a little bit. And now I'm going to add some of the sap green. And I just basically randomly kind of put it on and then use my silicone color shaper or the Catalyst Wedge to pull it out so that it becomes a much more transparent layer. The colors I'm using are very earthy colors. I was just thinking about landscapes. I'm doing some landscape painting, and so I wanted to try some colors together to see what they look like. And I really loved these 4 colors that I used, and I will mention them as I go through the video. But this is the sap green. And then here's the metallic gold. Now this is a Liquitex color. It's quite thick, but when you spread it out and thin it out over the Antelope Brown, it becomes this really, really shimmery, really beautiful color, which is what I loved in the color samples. I was a little bit concerned about scaling up and whether I could get the same sort of feeling. So I'm just trying to add a little bit of that sparkle in a few places. I just keep smoothing it out so it stays a little more transparent. Adding a little bit more of the Antelope Brown, I decided I wanted to have a few spots that were a little bit darker. And you'll see it's already quite shiny. It dries quick. That's the other nice thing about ink. So this is transparent burnt sienna. And I thought it might make a nice addition of a sort of a pop of color, but it's still, I think it's still kind of an earthy color. It reminds me of soil and that sort of thing. Red rocks, red cliffs, things like that. And it does work well with the other colors. But I wanted to do this a little more sparingly just so it was more of an accent color. And with the burnt sienna, I left some of those dropper marks as they were rather than smoothing all that out. Just, you can see I also did that with the sap green, just to add some marks on there. I didn't want to flatten all of the color out. I wanted to have a little bit of texture as well. So that's pretty much it. I didn't want to go any further. On the smaller samples, I added some white stenciling over it. But I decided I liked this as it was and didn't really want to add the stencils. I think the scale of the stencils would have been off a little bit for this larger piece. So I decided just to pull the tape off and leave this as it is. And here's just a bit better close-up, and I turned up the lights a little bit so you can see the shimmer just a little bit more. But it does create a nice, really, really nice shine to the inks that are there. And here's an even closer close-up. And all the beautiful transparent layers is what I really, really like about acrylic inks. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you have a chance to play with acrylic inks. They're a lot of fun, and you can create a lot of really nice transparent layers.